I think he needed that 160 snatch to just stay in there. I don't think the 155 will be enough. So I have to agree with you, Dave. My money's on the Russian.
Well, it's the Italian to start first, the experienced Sergio Manironi. Manironi down in 11th place. And, of course, the Albanian, Aratan Suli, 3 failures, means he can get no total. And that awful sequence continues for him at the moment. And the Greek, who was performing pretty well in the B group earlier on, ended up at the halfway stage in 7th place, which is not a bad effort. I think we might see a bit more of him in the coming months, and particularly at the World Championships. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh well, he says, "Yeah, I've got a lift on the board. I've got a total." But yeah, I could see what you mean. The positioning under the bar was not perfect.
Yes, if you'd seen that from the side, you'd have. Oh, here we might get a view of this.
Yes, hips behind the bar.
And he's very close to the front of the platform as well. If he comes off the platform, it's a no lift. But a wry smile. It's good to see the Italian here, because it is one of the concerns of the sport, David. I mean, if you look at the lineup for the final area, 2 from Turkey, Russia, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Albania. This sport at the moment is completely in Europe dominated by the Eastern European athletes. I mean, Western Europe, with 1 or 2 exceptions, like 1 or 2 of the good Spanish women. I mean, we just don't have the athletes coming through, and it's been like that for a few years, and it has to be a worry.
Well, it's actually been like it forever. I mean, when Great Britain produce good lifters, for example, it's more by luck. It's because somebody who happens to have the right genetics and wants to do the training does it. It's not because we've been to a school and picked out 100 of the best genetic subjects and then given them everything they've needed.
So he's got the 175. And again, David, at this moment, 2 members of the B ranking group from earlier on today. This is Christoforidis of Greece. He totaled out on 337.5. He clean and jerked 185. And Jose Navarro of Spain, he managed to get a 180 in for 327.5.
As I say, though, I think this Turk, he knows he's not going to be in the medals here. He's purely lifting here, trying to prove that he should have been the second 69er.
Well, Manironi's asked for 5 kilos up. Is that wishful thinking? Well, no, that's a silly remark. He must believe he can do it.
It's going to be tough. 172.5 was very close to his maximum.
I mean, 172.5 represents 20 kilos less than his personal best, but again, he has come down from 85 kilos to this class.
Yes, it's very different lifting as a 77. And you can see his abdominals through his leotard. You can see how low his body fat is. He's really going to have to work for this. It's better.
That was a brilliant cleat. Where did he get that from? Well, yes, he was fragile overhead, but the clean was so impressive.
Yes, he looked good.
Well, he pulled it out in the snatch phase, remember? He had 2 failures, and then he went away and sorted himself out. I wonder whether he can do it again.
I'm just wondering if he's going to go to 180.
Would there be any point?
Well, it wouldn't matter, would it? He's not going to be in the medals. He's got a total. I'm just thinking maybe to give himself a rest, because if he takes 177.5, follow himself. So he's got a minute and a half left on the clock.
Michaela Breeze on the left there in picture, Britain's #1 lifter. I know I'm risking a bit here with you sitting next to me.
Current, I think, is the word you're looking for.
Yes. Dominika Misterska on the right there for Poland, who regularly stops by our commentary position with predictions. She reckons that Georgi Markov's going to prevail. We don't.
That's right. Our money's on Oleg.
Now Manironi, with still 50 seconds of his time. Now he must do the clean as well as he did it the last time he was out here, and then can he just find that little bit of strength?
Yes, he needs good positioning under the bar. He's leaving the hips behind. He needs to really push them through and get underneath it. Ah, good clean again. Now.
Just hasn't got that little bit extra, but we can only presume, because we haven't had a chance to talk to him, but even though he's 35, we're thinking that he's probably in training now because he's decided to go for Athens, in which case it'll be stepping stones, remembering that, you know, his big effort's going to come in Vancouver 2003 at the World Championships there, which is the first qualifying opportunity. Vlad in the yellow there. Some people think he's a teddy bear, other people think he's a menace. He's actually a really nice chap. Olympic champion for Romania. And this is his young charge, Vasily Claudiu Hegedus.
It's just signalling to the judges, the referees, that he has a
funny arm
lock. It's just a genetic thing. If you're watching some of the Bulgarian lifters, you'll see that they have arms that hyperextend. This man is the opposite. Nice solid start though.
Yes, and he starts on in the Worlds at Antalya, so that's promising.
So now this is quite a significant lift, because if he succeeds with this, although again, like we've said, it doesn't count for much in this competition because he's lifting in the heavier weight class, but it would actually give him a total of 332, which I believe would be 2.5 kilos more than his teammate did yesterday, who placed third. And this would have well, arguably could have given him second place on body weight. So it's quite an important lift, I would think, for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's it's one of those sort of, see, told you, you put the wrong man in. So, something to prove.
worked, but it's okay. It's okay.
And he's proved it.
Certainly has.
So, did they pick the wrong men?
But he's still got a lift to go. Well, he still doesn't lead the clean and jerk rankings. It's still Christoforidis on 185 who has the advantage, and overall Christoforidis still on top at 337.5 now.
So the man who's failed 6 times in the World Championships has failed 3 snatches. Let's hope he can do something here.
Yeah, he lives in the German Bundesliga in the second division of that weightlifting competition, representing Speyer. But on these championship stages, he's really struggled, and he's
got that belt flapping around in the way as well. Would have thought he would have tied that down. Yeah, he just doesn't. I think you're right, David. He just doesn't seem to be psychologically there. And I would have thought that his coaches would have started him with 175 and allowed him to build his confidence, because, as you say, he's just ingraining this failure upon failure upon failure.
Yeah, I mean, you just have no self-belief. I mean, has he got any coaches?
Well, that wasn't even close.
Lukács of the Slovak Republic now, down in 9th place at the halfway stage with only 150 kilos, 17.5 kilos off the lead. So that's a long way down. So that zooms him up into 2nd place overall. He's now just 2.5 kilos behind Christoforidis of Greece. Now, man who led the earlier B group ranking division competition, but is showing up pretty favorably amongst the best men in Europe. Now, Kozłowski 4th at the halfway stage with 1, which leaves him 7.5 kilos behind Markov, 5 behind Yilmaz, and also 5 behind Perepachonov. So he's well capable of 200 at his very best.
Well, he failed with his first snatch, if you remember,
and
then really seemed to get it together.
I was about to say, before he jerked it over his head, that to me he's looking in better shape than I've seen him for a while. So now the Albanian will be the next man. Just having a look at the board there. Oh, a little too quick to see if there were any changes, but Suli. think the crowd want to get behind him to try and get, you know, get one lift on that. I mean, he'd be just break the sequence.
Yeah, I guess he's demoralised as well because he didn't get any snatches in. Maybe if it was his choice, he would have quit. Well, it's better now.
Is he stronger overhead? No. And he just, in a sense, he sort of just accepts it, doesn't he? Oh well, it's another one gone.
Yeah, I can't understand why they opened him with such a...
I'll tell you what, he's very lucky that he's not being coached by Yakovu of Greece or Mantek of Germany, because he'd never be lifting like that. First of all, of course, they'd have reprogrammed his starting kilos. Yeah, absolutely. But the second thing is that there'd be no slackness allowed. He'd be as focused as anyone coming on that stage. Now, Kozlovsky, bit of a rescue mission. 185. Can we do it?
I'm going to say yes.
I think so.
We'll
better
get together now.
Happy with that?
That'll do for me.
Good stuff. 345 total. So Kozlovsky still not leading the clean and jerk rankings, because the Greek Christoforidis weighing in at 76 kilos, really lightweight, and he's staying ahead of Lukacs of Slovakia, and now Kozlovsky in third place. Overall, Kozlovsky is the leader because he's got 345, and that's 7.5 kilos clear of the Greek.
So 185 for the Turk that wishes he was doing this yesterday.
Well, the familiar prayer gesture. He is a Muslim, and praying, as he said, there's a little statement we've got. He said it's very important to him. He's got an interesting little hobby, though. It's he loves going on picnics.
Really?
Yes. Don't know what sort of picnics, and I don't know where. Fair enough. This for 337.5 as a total. Well, 337.5, David, just to reiterate what you were saying earlier on, in the 69 kilo category, that would have been the silver medal. As it is, he finishes on 332.5, which would have been good enough for the bronze.
Or maybe the silver on bodyweight.
Yeah. So
the young Romanian, deceptively strong.
Email in from Darren, David, just asking why the women have a 15 kilo bar and the men the heavier bar. Good question. I mean, another thing about the women's bar is that it's actually the diameter. It's actually thinner than the men's bar. I guess I guess an average woman's hand is smaller than an average man's hand, so they think it's fairer. One or two other emails in. Merson, thank you for your email. You were asking about Simon Kolechki, of where he is. Is he competing in the 94 kilos? Well, I think we've mentioned that he won't be. He's had back trouble, which is not unusual for Simon. He's been in the Ukraine having a series of massage treatments. It's still, if you can think back to the Olympics the problem that's plagued him most. But all being well, the Polish squad are hoping that he's going to be fit and firing for the World Championships in November. And also another email in from Liam Egan. You wanted us to give best wishes to Dave and Denise from Liam, Tara, Carl, Leanne, and is it Wade? I hope it is. We've just sort of tried to grab that very quickly. Nice to hear from you. Hope you're enjoying it, and we'll try and pass on your best wishes to them. We might well see them for a bit of a late supper in the hotel when we get back. It's Dave Sawyer you're referring to, I think, and Denise.
That's right.
One or two of you, we asked a question yesterday about how the medals should be awarded if you get two men on the same kiloage who've got exactly the same body weight. Consensus of your replies seems to suggest that whoever gets there first, that's the way you would favour the medal being distributed. So whoever gets to that particular weight, they should prevail.
I think the trouble with that, though, is that it actually almost comes down to a lottery, because for people that don't know this, at the beginning of the competition, before people weigh in, they draw lots. So the person that goes first is the person that draws the lowest number in the lot. So I'm not really sure if I'd want to lose out on a medal because I drew a higher number in a lot.
But then, I'll come back to that in a moment, David. 187.5 kilos on the bar. Ooh. No. What I was going to say, David, irrespective of the lot number, you choose your own starting weight, you choose which is your second weight that you go for, and you choose which is your third weight. And as you rightly say, it's the third lift, that's the final opportunity. Now, if you get to a particular weight, you have been with your coaches making your decisions on the way you climb the staircase. So
yeah, but a competition shouldn't be decided through luck, through somebody choosing. It should be decided through clever choice of poundages and hard training.
I don't think it is decided by luck, because the fact is, what you're saying is, if the person who gets to that kilo first.
No, but the reason they get to the kiloage first is because they get the first opportunity to attempt it, because their coach drew a lower lot number. So it's a lottery, isn't it? On that, but, the reason one person is better is because they by luck they picked a lower number. I don't think that's the way to win a competition. I think the way to win it is by doing the hardest training and skill of the poundages that you actually pick. I don't like anything being down to pure luck, but personally.
But I can understand the concern that you could have 3 or 4 people ending up with an equal weight. You can't give them all bronze medals.
Reweigh them.
Good lift there by the Turk. And Mehmet Yilmaz making a good start to his clean and jerk campaign, as he did with the snatch. Got 2 out of 3, and of course has got a silver medal and is only 2.5 kilos behind Markov.
Yeah, I think the trouble with it is that it's all going to be the clean and jerks where it's really going to tell. We were talking about the difference in physiques, that this man was taller and sort of skinnier than Perepachenov, and in the snatch that doesn't really seem to matter. I mean, they both finished on the same snatch, but in the clean and jerk I think you're going to find that the shorter, stocky, more powerful Russian is really going to come through.
Well, Lukacs fills that build, stocky and prowling. 190 on the bar, half a minute.
Stamping, I'm not sure what that's all about. Maybe he wants people to start clapping.
No, I think it's just part of his... 1 or 2 Hungarian women used to do that quite a lot. Had to work a little bit harder. But nothing like a bit of determination to go with the strength, and he's got the 190. Excellent.
Yeah, pleased with himself.
So 32-year-old, yeah, 32.
Had a plan.
Yeah, 32-year-old Slovak doing very well indeed there. Again, another man who's moving up from the 69 kilo category. Just worth emphasising, David, the real improvement there, having moved up. I mean, his performance in the World Championships in 69 kilos, 172.5 in the clean and jerk. So that extra few kilos has really obviously made him feel not only more powerful, but he's obviously much more comfortable at the present weight.
That's right. So he added 12.5 to his previous snatch, because it was 137.5, and has already added 17.5 to the clean and jerk. So 30 kilos on his total, and his first time out at 77. So yeah, good start.
Yeah. Interesting though that, you know, age of 32, it's good improvement. Now Kozlovsky, 192.5. It's a 7.5 kilo increase, but he's finishing better than he starts. That's his third and final attempt. He's made 4 out of 6 for 352.5, and as you can see from that little graphic on the right there, he has moved up to the top of the clean and jerk rankings, and overall he's in second place, 2.5 kilos behind Mehmet Yilmaz of Turkey. But still, of course, the powerful Bulgarians, Vanev in particular, Markov, the halfway leader, and Perepachonov to come in. It's also noticeable that we've not seen any more of Suli of Albania. So I can only assume, David, that he's decided that enough is enough. Markov, 195. Now, where does that...
Well, this was the man who posted 190, was leading after the snatch. This, of course, would put him straight into the lead on the clean and jerk and the total. But, of course, Perepachonov and his teammate Vanev haven't started yet.
Well, I'd say, David, that he's got to make every one of these 3 attempts count. I think if he misses out on any one of them, then he could end up by missing out altogether.
Well, as we've said earlier, the snatch was his. I mean, he managed to stay in that competition by getting the 167.5 snatch, and we know he's not as good at this lift. But this was putting him on 362.5.
Too much wrong with that, David. And that's 2.5 kilos less than he lifted back in 1999 in the European Championships, when he was lifting in the 77 kilo class. And that 197.5 at this weight category is his personal best. So
what did he actually clean and jerk at the Olympic Games at 69? I know he snatched 165.
He clean and jerked 187.5 kilos.
Right. So Perepachonov is coming in at 195. That surprises me. I would have thought he would have gone.
I think he wants one safe lift on the board. I mean, it's possible that the warm-up didn't go as well as he expected, but
we know he has a best of
2:10.
2:10. Oof, look at that. Bang.
Oof. So strong. The clean was good, the jerk was better. 360, second place maintained. Still 2.5 kilos separating himself and Markov from the snatch phase, that differential. Vanev still to begin. And Mehmed Yilmaz now down to 4th place in the clean and jerk, but he's got 2 more attempts and he's looking for 195 now. And 76 kilos 30 is body weight. This for the lead in the clean and jerk. And it would take him from 3rd place overall up into 2nd place overall if he gets the 195. Well, it's taken a few days for the Turkish choir to find their voices. But they certainly have tonight. Half a minute. So, locks on. Very, very quick in the jerk there. Arguably, maybe a bit too quick.
It's got a personal best of 197.5, if memory serves me correct.
So Vanev with Drud as his opening kiloage there, posted, and now Lukács of Slovakia. Now I think I said, David, in the snatch phase when he addressed the bar for a 3rd time that I reckon that would be beyond him. Sadly, I was right, and he failed at 152.5, and I've got a distinct feeling that he's going to find this 5 kilo increase just a bit too much. I wish him well, and I hope he does it, but it will give him a total of 345.
Really wants it. Look at this.
Come on.
Well, I bet he can't believe that.
That is terrific. That's one of the best Slovak performances we've seen for an awful long time. And when you consider, David, that his announced total was 330 and he's walking off the stage with 345, that is a brilliant evening's work by him. That's 5 out of 6 lifts.
And 22.5 kilos more than he did in the last competition.
Yeah, that's terrific. Yuri Gubalo, his coach, is going to be delighted with this. Been lifting for some 16 years. And his wife Katerina and his daughter Vicky, who's about 6 years old, pretty pleased with Dad's efforts. Well, I've enjoyed today. I thought the women's super heavyweight competition, good atmosphere, good fight, and this is bubbling up nicely, David. There's good atmosphere in the hall. crowd are knowledgeable. Obviously, most of them want this man to succeed.
Now, come on. Yes.
Hold still. Well, he wants it, and he's got it at the second time of asking. He gets 195.
60.
Yeah, that's really terrific, and that's 5 kilos more than his announced total as well.
And of course he has a low body weight. He only weighed in at 76.3. So
yeah, he leads the clean and jerk, but remember, Markov has got 2 to come, Perepachonov has got 2, and Vanev has got 3, and it'll be Vanev next to appear with 200 kilos being loaded on the bar.
Yes, of course, Vanev snatched 155. He also weighed in at 76.3. So he'll have to clean and jerk 207.5 to go ahead of the Turk, which he's capable of.
Well, 207
on his day.
207.5 is what he clean and jerked in 2000 when we had the European Championships in Sofia. But I think the important thing to remember about that was those were the European Championships immediately before the Olympics. So he was really building up to his top mark at that point.
Yes, I remember he used to start with a very close grip in the clean, then chuck his hands out wide. But having had those 2 elbow dislocations, he's now... Oh, he does look strong on this lift. Keeping the hands close, though, for the jerk. Oh, looks really strong. Look at that.
Wow.
And I bet he's kicking himself for not doing that that snatch of 160. That really would have put him in there.
Well, Vanev has basically gone from nowhere to 4th. And he's now snapping at the heels of Perepachonov because there's only 5 kilos between them. And Mehmet Yilmaz, who could do nothing about it but just watch and wait and see. Now Markov, who's got the 2.5 kilo advantage over the Turk and Perepachonov, and his lead over Vanev has now reduced. It was 10 kilos at the halfway stage, it's now 7.5. And Vanev, of course, lighter than Markov, so every kilo counts now. So this is, again, absolutely crucial, this 5 kilo increase. This is effectively the medal deciding lift, because...
Well, I think if he's going to hold off Vanev, and if he's going to hold off Perepachonov, he really needs to do this lift, because they're both capable of well over 200. I think this is very near this man's limit.
Now we really have an interesting competition, David. We really have a game on here, because Markov only moves to 2nd place in the clean and jerk because he's heavier than Vanev, who stays at the top of the clean and jerk leaderboard. But he's now got a 7.5 kilo advantage over the Turk. That's academic. Perepachonov now is 7.5 kilos behind, and he's heavier than Markov as well. And remember, the clean and jerk world record is 210 kilos, and Vanev is now 12.5 kilos behind.
So
overall,
Perepachonov coming in at 100. That surprises me. It's because he'll still be 2.5 kilos behind Markov.
I think he's gauging this for the last lift. 210, equal up the clean and jerk world record, which he owns, and that'll do nicely. Mind you, Vanev could be the spoiler.
Well, he needs 205 at the moment, doesn't he? Because he's got to make up that 2.5 kilo and the body weight.
Oh no!
Well, he's not in the sort of... I mean, when he did that 210, it was easy.
Well, when we saw him come in and do the 195, we thought the 200 would be virtuality.
So he's got a big decision to make now.
Huge decision, because in the clean and jerk, Vanev now leads. He's come from nowhere to lead the clean and jerk. Markov is now in second place by virtue of being slightly heavier. Yilmaz, the Turk, is holding on to the bronze in the clean and jerk and to silver overall.
So Parapachenov's got to decide whether to come out and do the 200, which I think he's going to do. I think he's going to come out for 200. But he needs 205 to beat Markov.
Well, you see, if he gets this extra 5 kilos, he's going to have 365. That opens the gap for Vanev, between him and Vanev, to 10 kilos. Maybe he's thinking, look, I can't retain my European title, but I can get an overall medal.
I'm surprised he's... I would have thought he would have taken more.
Well, David, you know better than certainly myself. You know, you can be in the warm-up room 10, 15 minutes before the competition. You can feel good, and then suddenly, by halfway, you're not feeling so good. You're not feeling so strong. And everything that happened on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday is irrelevant.
He needs this, otherwise Vanev could actually overtake him.
He's not with it. He is definitely not with it.
The weight was so light though, but it just slipped off his shoulders. Let's see if we get a replay here. Stands up, look, it just slips off his shoulders.
I just think he suddenly just lost the concentration.
It's not heavy for him. Slip. And he can't believe it.
No.
Yes, I think that day when he did 210 was a very special day for him. So you can see the board now. Look, Vanev has opted to take 207.5, which, if I'm not mistaken, would actually put him into second place overall.
Well, it would give him a total of 362.5, and that would still leave him 5 kilos behind Markov. He's lighter than Markov.
So if Markov doesn't do any more, which I don't think Markov will do, I think Markov's finished. So I think it's up to Vanev now to take the silver with this lift and the gold, all on the gold on the clean and jerk, and then 212 for the overall.
Markov's got one more lift.
I can't see him doing 207.5 though. The 200 was very difficult. I think he's said to Vanev, if you can do 212, then you can have it. You deserve it.
But if he does 212, we'll be doing a new world record.
Yeah. Well, if anybody can do it, this man can. I've seen him clean 212 before.
I'll tell you what, this would be some comeback.
Just imagine it. Well, if he'd snatched the 160, this would be the lift for the gold medal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Triple European champion.
So powerful.
Double world champion Vanev. That's the sort of pedigree of the man you're watching now.
Oh, so strong. That clean is amazing.
Now, it wasn't more than 45 minutes ago that Dominika Misterska said to us, and she's a lifter, she said Markov would win this competition. We went, no, this will be Parapachenov's evening. And we, let's not be dishonest about this, we absolutely believe that Markov could not sustain, and particularly at the halfway stage where he only had a 2.5 kilo advantage. But now he's looking to be in pole position.
So one lift left.
Well, Vanev can't.
He can't win the silver on the total, and he can take the gold on the clean and jerk, meaning...
Well, he's got the gold on it.
First and second. Oh, he's got the gold on the clean and jerk. Of course he has. So why, then, is he not going 212 and a half, then? You're right, he's got the gold on the clean and jerk by is he lighter than...
He is lighter.
He's lighter. Yeah. So, I'm wondering why he's not taking 212.5.
Well, they might be about to change that and get a bit of extra time.
No, because he's taking this because he wants a silver overall, of course. That's why he's taking this.
Yes. It means Bulgaria first and second.
1 and 2 on the overall. That's the reason. Yeah.
And as I said, David, the coaches said to us beforehand that they couldn't split the two of them, because they knew this would happen. They knew that Vanev would be stronger on the clean and jerk. They knew that Markov would be the man who would have the advantage on the snatch. So that's exactly right.
So for Bulgaria, 1 and 2. 207.5. Such a good technique in the clean. So upright and fast out of that low position.
Not so easy this time, though, David.
But he wants it.
Yes.
He wants it. He wants that second overall, and he's got it.
Bulgaria take gold and silver in the men's 77 kilo class.
And he's thinking, if only I'd snatched that 160, that would have been not only the clean and jerk gold medal, that would have been the overall gold medal.
So what a couple of the Bulgarian men's team have had. Boevsky dominant, rampant last night in the 69 kilo class, and now gold and silver in the men's 77 kilo class. And Mehmet Yilmaz of Turkey gets the overall bronze medal for the host nation, and the defending champion Perepechonov of Russia a disappointing fourth, and fourth by virtue of being heavier than the Turk, with Kozlowski of Poland ending up in 5th place ahead of Lukacs of Slovakia. And the Greek who lifted earlier in the day, Christoforidis, 7th overall. So a really interesting competition. And I can tell you, there's a young Polish lifter called Dominika Misterska. You will have seen her during the week, and she's walking to us and she's pointing the finger at us saying, I told you that Georgiev would win, and I was right and you were wrong. And that's what she's saying to us. She's not actually saying that, she's just smiling with delight.
Smiling and pointing the finger.
Well, Vanev takes the gold medal. It's been Bulgaria all the way, because Markov takes the snatch gold, Vanev takes the clean and jerk gold, and they're gold and silver in the overall rankings. And just looking at Yilmaz, he's got to be Turkish coaching team. They've got to be really delighted with Yilmaz today, because that's a really good sequence of lifts he's put in.
Yeah. Yes, I wonder what they make of the young Turk, though, Arslan, who weighed in at a very light 71.9, normally lifts at 69, who totaled out at 332, which would have perhaps third or even second place last night.
Yeah, just having a look at Mehmet Yilmaz, that's the best European performance that he's put in. He was 4th in 97 and last year, but he's got a bronze medal. He got a bronze medal in the Worlds in 1998 in Lahti. So he's 27 years of age. He continues like that. Well, Athens is a reality. There's the clean and jerk, opening up on 200, 2 attempts at 207.5. The third one, a really gutsy effort to extend the lead that he already had in the clean and jerk and to move him up into the overall silver medal position, which you'll see in a minute. You can see the body weight coming into play there between third and fourth. Suli, the Albanian, right at the bottom of the pile. Another awful day at the office. Overall, there you go, Georgi Markov, we were wrong. And the Bulgarians, well, they weren't. They couldn't split them. In the end, Markov by 5 kilos. And all credit to him, 2.5 kilos, his advantage slim at the halfway stage, but good lifting by him, using 5 out of his 6 lifts. And you can see Yilmaz there getting the overall bronze by virtue of his lighter body weight over Petr Petronov. And Kozlovsky, not bad there in 5th place ahead of Lukas.